Humanity had always been dismissed by the galaxy's elite councils, seen as primitive, unpredictable, and dangerous only in theory. But when the Varela system came under threat, the humans revealed just how wrong those assumptions had been. Commander Daniel Harper watched the alien fleet massing in orbit, their enormous ships casting shadows across the planets below. Confident that their overwhelming numbers and advanced technology would force submission, unaware that humanity had spent decades preparing for this exact moment. Across the human fleet, officers coordinated quietly but efficiently, integrating orbital defense stations with agile stealth vessels, AI-assisted fighters, and adaptive weapons that could exploit the slightest weakness in alien shields. Ambassador Elena Carter monitored communications, noting the arrogance in the Council's messages, a deadly mistake. For every insult, every underestimate, only fueled humanity's resolve. As the alien vanguard entered the system, human ships remained hidden, their cloaking fields masking even the largest cruisers, while decoy signals lured the enemy into carefully calculated positions. Then, in a sudden, synchronized strike, electromagnetic pulses scrambled targeting arrays, precision torpedoes disabled key vessels, and stealth corvettes hit weak points the Council had assumed were invulnerable. Confusion spread to the alien formations as humans exploited their hesitation, striking decisively with minimal losses, demonstrating a mastery of strategy, innovation, and timing the galaxy had never seen before. On Earth, people watched in tense anticipation, knowing that the fate of humanity's independence rested on the audacity and brilliance of those who refused to be intimidated. The Council had assumed humans could be controlled, subdued, or destroyed, but now, as their forces faltered under coordinated human assault, it became clear that their deadliest mistake had been underestimating the species they had mocked, for humanity had proven that cleverness, resilience, and unity were weapons far more potent than the Council ever imagined. The alien fleet scrambled to regroup, but every maneuver the Council attempted had already been anticipated by human strategists who used the chaotic battlefield to their advantage, striking where the enemy thought they were safe and creating zones of confusion that magnified human effectiveness despite their smaller numbers. Commander Harper coordinated the fleet, like a single mind, issuing rapid orders that blended offense and defense, while AI systems calculated angles, energy outputs, and trajectories within human speed, allowing human vessels to exploit gaps in alien formations before they could react. On board the flagship, Lieutenant Maria Velasquez monitored alien communications and energy signatures, detecting subtle hesitation and errors in their coordination, revealing cracks that would soon become gaping holes. Captain Nathan Brooks led a squadron of stealth corvettes on daring flanking maneuvers, striking critical command vessels and forcing the Council commanders to divert attention and resources, further destabilizing their ranks. On the surface of Varela, orbital defenses synchronized with fleet movements, firing high-energy projectiles that disabled alien shields and sent entire cruisers tumbling through space, while small human fighters executed surgical strikes against enemy supply and support ships, crippling logistics and morale. Ambassador Carter intercepted new Council directives, noting the panic in their tone, a stark contrast to their prior arrogance, and reported to Harper that the enemy was beginning to doubt their own superiority, exactly as humans had predicted. Humanity's combination of boldness, precise timing, and willingness to take calculated risks contrasted sharply with the Council's rigid command structure, which relied on rules and hierarchy rather than creativity and adaptability. Every victory, every tactical innovation, served as a lesson for Galaxy. Humans were not merely survivors, they were masters of adaptation, turning every underestimated advantage into decisive strength. And as the alien fleet faltered under relentless human pressure, the realization began to spread to the ranks that they had misjudged the enemy in the most fatal way imaginable, for humanity's ingenuity and courage were far more dangerous than any Council weapon, and the day that was meant to secure their dominance had instead marked the beginning of their undoing. The Council's flagship shuddered under repeated human strikes, energy shields flickering as adaptive weaponry tore through their defenses, while smaller human craft darted between debris fields, exploiting every opening with surgical precision, proving that skill and strategy outweighed sheer size. Commander Harper coordinated from the bridge, issuing commands with calm authority, each decision backed by simulations, real-time sensor analysis, and decades of preparation that the Council could not hope to anticipate. Lieutenant Velasquez tracked alien tactical shifts, noting every hesitation, misstep, and overextension, feeding the data into Captain Brooks' squadron to maximize damage and disorient the enemy. On Varella's orbital platforms, human engineers adjusted targeting vectors mid-battle, ensuring that the firing arcs and energy outputs complemented the fleet's maneuvers, creating traps that funneled alien ships into zones where multiple systems could strike simultaneously. Dr. Aisha Rahman monitored weapon calibrations, tweaking energy pulses and torpedo yields to bypass alien shielding, turning what seemed like brute force into a precise, surgical assault that left enemy vessels crippled but largely intact, sowing panic among crews who had never encountered such unexpected effectiveness. Ambassador Carter relayed intercepted council communications to the command staff, revealing the alien leaders' growing confusion and mounting fear, their confidence evaporating as humans systematically dismantled their formations and disrupted command chains. The Council's attempt at counterattacks failed repeatedly, each miscalculated move turning against them, while human forces adapted instantly, demonstrating flexibility, creativity, and cohesion that no rigid hierarchy could match. The battle unfolded like a meticulously orchestrated dance, every human maneuver reinforcing the lesson the galaxy would not soon forget. Underestimating humanity was catastrophic. As alien ships tumbled through space, systems failing and crews panicked, humans pressed the advantage relentlessly, striking with precision where it hurt most and retreating only when it served a larger strategy, forcing the Council to realize too late that their technological superiority had been outmatched by human ingenuity, unity, and the unyielding will to defend their species and assert their place in the cosmos. The Council's fleet, once brimming with arrogance and confidence, was now fractured, their formations scattered under relentless human pressure, as Commander Harper and his officers exploited every lapse with ruthless efficiency, turning hesitation into catastrophe for the alien commanders. Human fighters weaved through the debris of shattered cruisers, targeting critical systems, disabling engines, weapons, and communications, while orbital platforms fired synchronized volleys that cut off retreat and forced the enemy into deadly corridors where even a single misstep could mean destruction. Lieutenant Velasquez analyzed every energy signature, predicting alien maneuvers before they occurred, allowing Captain Brooks' squads to strike preemptively, a tactic that left the Council scrambling and exposed their inability to adapt in real time. Dr. Rahman monitored fluctuations in the alien shields, tweaking weapon outputs to exploit resonances that caused cascading failures, proving that human scientific ingenuity could turn even the most advanced technology against its masters. Ambassador Carter intercepted frantic Council communications, revealing a mixture of shock, disbelief, and fear as their calculations failed to anticipate the humans' unorthodox strategies, while Harper reminded his crew that this was the culmination of years of preparation, discipline, and a refusal to be intimidated. On the surface of Varela, citizens watched as small corvettes executed daring maneuvers, drawing enemy attention away from key defense sites, while AI-coordinated drones disrupted supply lines, demonstrating that humanity's strength was as much in intelligence and coordination as in firepower. Even as the Council tried to rally their fleet with concentrated strikes, human adaptability and foresight nullified their attacks, turning every offensive into a trap and every defensive into an opportunity for counterassault, showing that the underestimated species could outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast the supposedly dominant powers. The alien commanders, for the first time, experienced the terrifying reality that their opponents were not just surviving, but thriving under pressure, using every perceived disadvantage as a weapon, revealing the lethal potential of human creativity, resilience, and unity. And as the battle stretched across the Varela system, with human forces dictating tempo, targets, and strategy, the Council slowly realized that their assumption of superiority had been catastrophic, that their disdain and overconfidence had blinded them to the fact that humanity was a force capable of rewriting the rules of war in a galaxy, and nothing they had learned from older, supposedly dominant species could prepare them for the full measure of human ingenuity and determination. Unleashed, the alien fleet was now in full retreat, their once cohesive formations broken and vulnerable, as human forces pursued with precision, exploiting every opening to strike at command ships and supply lines, leaving the Council reeling and unable to mount an effective defense. Commander Harper coordinated the relentless offensive, blending long-range strikes with agile corvette maneuvers, while Lieutenant Velasquez tracked alien movements, predicting each desperate attempt at regrouping, turning the enemy's reactions into new opportunities for attack. On Varela, orbital defense platforms synchronized perfectly with fleet operations, unleashing coordinated barges that crippled alien engines and weapon systems, forcing enemy vessels into narrow paths where human pilots and AI-assisted craft could strike with devastating effect. Dr. Aisha Rahman monitored energy feedback and weapon resonance, adjusting outputs in real time to exploit weaknesses in alien shields and hulls, demonstrating that human scientific ingenuity and battlefield adaptability far exceeded the Council's expectations. Ambassador Carter intercepted increasingly frantic communications between alien commanders, revealing panic and disbelief as their calculations, overconfidence, and assumptions failed at every turn, while the humans remained calm, disciplined, and methodical, executing every plan with precision honed through decades of preparation. Captain Nathan Brooks led daring strikes deep into enemy lines, disabling critical control nodes, scattering alien squadrons, and ensuring that any attempt at counterattack resulted only in further losses, proving that superior numbers could be rendered irrelevant when faced with superior strategy. The Council's AI-driven tactics failed to predict the human combination of intuition, creativity, and adaptability, and with each failed assault, the aliens' morale plummeted while humanity's cohesion and confidence surged, turning the tide of battle into a demonstration of their unyielding strength. Even as the Council desperately tried to reorganize, human forces anticipated their every move, intercepting reinforcements, neutralizing critical systems, and forcing the enemy into an irreversible position of disadvantage. Humanity's determination, ingenuity, and unity had rewritten the rules of engagement, showing the galaxy that underestimating a species capable of innovation, adaptability, and relentless resolve was a mistake that could not be forgiven or undone. And as alien ships faltered and fell, it became clear that the deadliest mistake the Council had ever made was believing that humans could be defeated or controlled without cost. The Council's fleet was now fractured beyond repair, fleeing in disarray as human forces pressed the advantage, striking relentlessly at stragglers, command vessels, and supply lines, turning what had been a show of arrogance into a complete rout that no alien commander could reverse. Commander Harper directed every maneuver with calm precision, blending offensive strikes with defensive coordination, while Lieutenant Velasquez analyzed energy signatures and communications in real time, ensuring that every predicted move by the Council became an opportunity for maximum effect. On Varela, orbital defense systems worked in perfect synchronization with human ships, deploying mines, precision railgun strikes, and electromagnetic traps to channel the alien vessels into predictable paths where corvettes and fighters could overwhelm them with superior tactics. Dr. Aisha Rahman continued to fine-tune weapons, exploiting shield harmonics, resonance frequencies, and hull weaknesses, turning advanced alien technology into a liability against them, proving that innovation and adaptability were humanity's deadliest assets. Ambassador Carter intercepted increasingly desperate Council transmissions, filled with disbelief, fear, and panic, as the aliens began to comprehend the true scale of their miscalculation, realizing that humanity was not only prepared but far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. Captain Nathan Brooks executed daring flanking attacks, disabling critical command hubs and cutting communications between the remaining alien forces, ensuring that the Council's fleet could not coordinate even a minimal counteroffensive. Every action, from stealth strikes to orbital bombardments, demonstrated the unyielding resolve of humanity, combining courage, precision, and ingenuity in a way that left the galaxy stunned and the Council's hubris shattered. The alien commanders, once supremely confident, were now left with a grim realization that their assumptions about human inferiority had been catastrophically wrong, and that the species they had dismissed as reckless and primitive had turned strategy, discipline, and adaptability into weapons of overwhelming force. And as the remnants of the Council fleet retreated toward uncharted sectors, battered, confused, and demoralized, humanity held the field, a clear demonstration that underestimating the courage, intelligence, and unity of a determined species was the galaxy's deadliest mistake, a lesson that would echo through every system for generations to come. As the shattered remnants of the Council fleet withdrew, human forces maintained pressure, not out of vengeance, but to ensure the message was unmistakable, that any power seeking to dominate or erase humanity would face consequences beyond calculation. Commander Harper ordered control pursuit, disabling rather than annihilating key vessels, allowing their crews to survive and carry word of what had occurred, understanding that fear and respect would travel faster than any warship. Lieutenant Velasquez continued to monitor transmissions, confirming that panic was spreading to the Council ranks, their once confident voices now filled with uncertainty as they tried to comprehend how a species they had dismissed had dismantled their authority in open combat. Dr. Amon's teams analyzed battle data in real time, already refining new countermeasures and upgrades, proving that humanity did not rest on victory, but immediately prepared for whatever challenge might follow. Ambassador Carter drafted a transmission to the Council, not a threat but a declaration, stating clearly that humanity sought coexistence, not subjugation, but would never again accept being treated as weak, expendable, or inferior. Across the fleet, officers and crews reflected briefly on the cost of the battle, honoring those lost, then returned to their duties, knowing that survival in the galaxy demanded constant vigilance and unity. The alien commanders, watching their damaged ships limp away, finally understood that humanity's greatest strength was not a single weapon or technology, but a combination of adaptability, courage, and collective will, a force that could not be easily predicted or contained. And as the stars of the Varela system slowly cleared of drifting wreckage and fading energy signatures, a new truth settled into the minds of every species that would hear the reports that the balance of power had shifted, and that humanity, once underestimated and ignored, had proven itself to be a civilization that could not be intimidated, a people who would endure, adapt, and strike back when pushed, ensuring that their place among the stars was no longer a question, but an undeniable fact. In the aftermath of the battle, the Council convened in silence, their towering chambers no longer filled with confidence, but with uneasy recognition of a truth they could not deny. That humanity was no longer a minor power to be guided, threatened, or dismissed, but a force that had earned its place through intelligence, resilience, and the will to fight for its future. Reports from surviving commanders described human tactics with a mix of fear and reluctant respect, detailing how smaller fleets had outmaneuvered, outthought, and ultimately overwhelmed a force that had once ruled by reputation alone. Across human space, the victory was not celebrated with arrogance, but with quiet determination, as leaders, soldiers, and scientists understood that this moment marked the beginning of a new era, one where the galaxy would measure humanity not by its age or origins, but by its capability and resolve. Ambassador Carter's message to the Council was broadcast across known systems, a calm declaration that humanity sought cooperation, not conquest, but would answer any threat with unity and strength, leaving no doubt that the era of being underestimated was over. Commander Harper and his officers returned to their duties, already planning defenses, alliances, and advancements, knowing that survival among the stars demanded constant readiness and innovation. And as the story of the Battle of Varela spread from world to world, from ancient empires to newly spacefaring species, one lesson echoed through every council chamber and command deck alike, that the greatest mistake the galaxy had ever made was assuming that humanity was weak. For when pushed, when cornered, when forced to choose between submission and survival, humanity would always strike back, not in blind rage, but with calculated power, unbreakable unity, and the unwavering determination to secure its place among the stars forever.